Welcome to Small Business Showcase, where we meet small business owners who are making a difference and having an impact. And now, your host, Mark Rosenberger.
Greetings, Mark Rosenberger here, and I am fired up today to be able to hang out with Lin Schussler-Williams. When you meet somebody who's good at what they do, has a passion for what they do, and you get that they want the folks they work with to just thrive, it's a hoot for me to interview. So Lin comes to us with a plethora of interesting pedigree. Take some cheat sheet notes, and I'm going to read the volumes here. She was originally from Elberton, Georgia, the granite capital of the world. If you haven't been there, you need to get there, near Lake Hartwell. Now in Louisville, Kentucky. Got to say it the right way, right, Lynn?
That's it.
Some of her interesting stuff. I love this. A certified Reset It specialist, the founder of Wise Women Collective, producer of the More Conference for Women, an author of 9 Little Words That Can Change Your Results, a speaker, a sales coach, and somebody with a last name longer than mine. Doesn't happen very often, and generally an awesome person who I've had a chance to play with for a while, and thrilled to be able to hang out with you today, Lynn. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Mark. I'm thrilled to get to hang out with you.
Woo! And that's just page 1 of this whole thing. So let's jump into this. You have an interesting backstory of how you got into being the entrepreneur that you are. And let's kind of hear that, and then we'll dive in, and I'm going to take a drink of water because I'm getting fired up and excited here. So tell us the backstory. How'd you get started?
Well, I got started as an entrepreneur. I'd had a long sales career, Mark, and I was in telecom and IT sales, and it was a brutal industry, merger after merger, and the sales department was always the one getting the short end of the stick, right? And so while I was doing that, though, I had a side gig. You don't even know this. I had a side gig as a certified conflict resolution trainer and facilitator for churches. And that's how I honed my speaking skills and became a speaker. It's how I honed my coaching skills and learned to be a coach, because basically I would get sent to some church in conflict and coach the board, coach the people, the congregation, and speak. And so that's what got me to coaching world. When I walked away from my corporate career one day, hadn't told myself I was going to do it, hadn't told my husband I was going to do it, went to work one day, and I'd had a really great month the month before, 158% of quota. Nobody in my office had done that in years. And my boss looked at me and said, "What do you got for me this month?" And I said, "Not a damn thing. I am so done with you." And I left. And that was it for corporate. I was never an employee again. So that was my entry into, not long after that, becoming a coach. And then for a long time, I was a sales coach for coaches and consultants. And, kind of the most interesting thing about that, Mark, is that I learned that most of the problems people have in sales and marketing are between their ears, right? And so it was all about helping people get out of their own way. And then I learned about getting out of my own way might be a good idea too, if I'm going to call other people on it,
Right.
And so that led me more to the part of my career I'm in now.
That's a fascinating story. And you've been entrepreneuring it for how many years now?
Oh, about 13 or 14, something like that.
Starting to get the hang of it and do different things there.
I haven't starved yet, but yeah.
Yeah. So of the plethora of things that you do and you're excited about, what puts fizz in your soda these days?
So, Mark, my main gig is I'm a certified Reset It specialist, and that really gets me excited and makes me feel like the work I'm doing matters to the world, because it is based on neuroscience and quantum physics. And it is all about teaching other people that they can reset the stuff in their lives that doesn't belong to them, the programs, the conditions, the limiting beliefs, like ones I had coming out of life experiences and sales and all of that. And so that's what really gets me fired up is that work. That's my number one work.
Puts fizz in your soda. Let's unpack this a little bit, because I think anybody watching this right now, including me, is raising their hand going, well, yeah, that she's talking to me about some of that. And it could be on a plethora of reasons or why. You have a story, kind of how you got kind of looking at this. Share that with us, would you?
Well, yeah, I was networking, doing business networking like this in a virtual setting. And I landed in a room with a different Mark Mathis, who is the founder of the Reset It process. And I asked him about it, and he said what I just said to you: neuroscience, quantum physics, get out of your own way. And I was like, sign me up. How do I do that? Let's hear it, because that had been my mode of operating for a long time, Mark. So I'll back up a little bit. I guess I'll tell you that, programs and conditions come to us through life experiences and input from other people. We've all got them, right? So we've all had parents, teachers, siblings, friends, spouses, bosses, professors, like whatever, people who have said to us, don't worry, not everybody's good at blah, blah, blah. And then we take it on that we're not good at it or something like that, right? And my experience of that came from an interesting story with my father. I was a kid in the late 60s, and my father owned a trucking company, and Jimmy Hoffa was the head of the Teamsters Union, which was the union that my father's company worked with. And he had signed the national agreement, but they were pressuring him to sign another one. And he said no. And one day they called him and said, we saw your little girl walking to school today in her red sweater and blue skirt, and it'd be a shame if she didn't make it home today. And that was me. And there were other times, many other times, when his life was directly threatened and that sort of thing. And this went on for quite some time. And although I was a child and my parents protected me from a lot of it, I think I knew something. And that became apparent because the limiting thought that it left me with, that was a filter through which I saw the world and myself, was it isn't safe to be too successful. And that it's better to kind of fly under the radar and not be too out there and get noticed. And so years later, decades later, I became aware of the story and figured out what was going on in my own head. And I got busy and spent the next 25 years in a dedicated mode of getting rid of that. Like if you can name a process that's supposed to help you rewire your brain, I've tried it, done it, like multiple hypnotherapists. I was certified in tapping 20 something years ago. Like, you put something in front of me and I was like, show me, right, let's go. And so, it had gotten better, but I even wrote a book, the subtitle of which is Releasing Old Patterns and Moving Forward, with 3 short phrases. Like, I was dedicated to getting rid of this, but I never really had. And then I did 2 sessions with Mark Mathis. And after the first one, it was gone. And I was like, everybody I know needs this. This is the work I want to do. Teach me how to do this. And he had never certified anybody before. But one of the benefits of removing those filters is that you're fully present to your own decision-making process, free of the things that normally influence you and get in your way that aren't yours. And so he instantly saw it was time, and we embarked on a journey. And I'm honored to say I got to be the first certified Reset It specialist in the world, other than Mark. And there are now 12 of us, and it's a growing team, and we get to do this amazing work with people, and it's just phenomenal. I
Yeah.
can't say
Wow.
enough good about it.
Yeah, I love the story, and boy, I'm raising my hand. I can, yeah, relate, and as I'm sure most of the folks watching this can. So let's dig a little bit deeper. So you work with somebody 2 sessions. What are some of the results or benefits that you've had or seen
Yeah.
or had people talk to you about?
Well, my own story, the result and benefit is I was no longer hiding my light under a bushel, and things that I started, everything I touched became easier, and I made decisions more. I always was a fast decision maker, but my decisions were clearly mine, not what I thought I was supposed to do or should do or what somebody else thought was wise. It clarifies the decision making process. But we work with people with all kinds of, you said earlier, Mark, it could be a plethora of things. Like the basic work we do is we teach it in 2 sessions, but then people who need to go deeper or want to go deeper about other things in their lives or need more sessions, sometimes we just do more general sessions, but we have programs about body image and food. That's a big one, right? So I've worked with a client who had lost 150 pounds, probably had another 100 to go, but was stuck and not able to keep going. And it wasn't obviously because they didn't know what to do. They'd lost 150 pounds. Right. They knew how to do this. It was because they had something that inside a groove they'd put in their brain that was saying, oh, it's not safe to be less somehow, right? And so to remove that removes that hindrance to doing the thing they really want to do, which is be healthier. A theme that I get all the time from people is some version of a program around worthiness. That's one of the biggest ones I see. And when you remove this idea that I'm not worthy of love, or I'm not worthy of success, or I'm not right, whatever your worthy story is, when that goes away, it's whatever your programs are, when you remove them, you see clearly, and it feels like freedom, right? I love that John Batiste song, Freedom, because that's what it feels like to me. Yeah.
Wow. Those are great examples. And so, like you, I think in the last 100,000 years that I've been around, exploring things, been a student, interested, curious about pertinent everything.
Yeah.
And when I saw the Reset It thing, and, why have I not heard about that?
Well, because until a year and a half ago or so, Mark was doing it by himself for 15 years, right? And so it really, the marketing for it, the conversation out in the world around it has really just started to ramp up in the last year and a half.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
The website was very interesting. I kind of kicked the tires on that and went, and you're different from a lot of, I don't want to call it self-help or
personal
coaching
development.
Personal development, in that your price point had me somewhat boggled. So talk to me about that.
Yeah. So the basic training, the 2 sessions, and I should say this about that basic training, Reset It is unlike a lot of other things. The practitioner, the specialist, is not doing something to the client. It is teaching the client to do it themselves, right? So this is a process we can all do. It's just nobody ever taught us how. And so this is for learning how. right? And it is helpful to have someone help you facilitate it. But the idea is that once you have it, you can do it. When you go, something comes out of your mouth and you go, oh gosh, that sounds like a program. Maybe I want to reset that, right?
Right.
You don't need me. You can just do it, right? And
Right.
so it's two sessions, two 90-minute sessions. We usually, the sweet spot is about a week apart, a week or 2 weeks, something like that. And it's $340 for both sessions. And I get that look a lot when I say that. And I'll tell you that Mark and I had a conversation about it because, I had been a sales coach for coaches and consultants for a dozen years when I met him. And I knew that the quote unquote, wisdom in the coaching industry would say those should be $1,000 or they should be $1,000 each session,
Each.
right?
Yeah.
And so I asked him, I said, Mark, why not? Why is it $340? Why is it not more than that? And he said, I don't need it to be more than that. And selfishly, I want as many human beings on the planet to be able to do this as possible because we'll all be better off when we reset our programs and conditions that don't belong to us. And I thought, if I weren't already convinced, I'm in. Right. I'm in for doing this forever because that just makes so much sense to me. And it's why I feel like this work is the work I give to the world.
Yeah. 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 And very impressed with it. And I worked with small businesses for 30 plus years, owners, and I got to tell you, there's the mechanics and there's the fundamentals, but 90% of it is between there and helping them get out of their own way. So I know I'm going to be sending clients your way. So get ready for that.
Please do.
Intrigued with that. What does Lin do for fun when you're not changing the world?
Well, I continue to change the world. My real fun is I founded a group called the Wise Women Collective. And it started years ago in Louisville, Kentucky, pre-COVID, as an in-person kind of networking thing. We met in coffee shops and we had luncheons with speakers and things like that. And then COVID hit, and luckily I'd been a coach and I had a Zoom account and knew how to use it. And so we went online and we were instantly national and then international. So we never went back. So it's a community of over 1,000 women worldwide, and we host free women's networking and empowerment events. And I have two partners who joined me in it, Holly Hartman and Brooke Haynes, and they're amazing women, and they help make it not overwhelming for me. And we are about to launch, the three of us, Holly and Brooke and I, are about to launch a Wise Women Collective internet radio show on KFred and YouTube channel, podcast, all of that. So that's exciting. And then I produced the Be More conference for women, which is a twice a year virtual online conference for women. We have speakers. So it's a platform for women who have a great message to take to the world, but maybe they're not on Oprah yet, And it is also a connection conference. That is, Holly and Brooke also partner with me on the Be More conference. And that is one of all three of us highest values is connection. And so we build in lots of engagement and connection. We just finished the Be More conference for fall 2024. And we're already excited about spring 2025. So,
woo. Yeah. Those feet keep moving over there, I guess.
Yeah.
My definition of Lin is there's a lot of networkers, but Lin is a net weaver, and
I love that.
Weaves people together who need to be together there. So,
I love
all right. Lynn, we could go on for a week, and I think
We
we'll
could.
probably circle back to talk about some other things, but I want to stop for a second, and I'm going to talk to the audience, and you just kind of go away for a second. So,
Okay.
The reset it process. If you're ever had one of those thoughts where you just, you good, but maybe not good enough, worthy, not worthy enough, something's stuck and in the way, and there could be so much more. If I would run, don't walk, connect with Lynn, and then check out what the end of the site will have, end of the video have messaging on how you can get her book, get involved with her conferences. And from personal experience, I got to tell you that I know Lynn wants the people she touches to excel. So with that, run, don't walk. All right, I'm now back to you, Lynn.
Thank you, Mark.
So I think we did
Mark,
good.
I should mention that you and I know each other through an amazing woman named Paige Batcher, and that she runs a mastermind group, which I have been blessed to co-coach in for about 4 years, called Story Selling Mastermind.
Called what? What is it?
Story selling.
Story selling. How can people find out more about story selling?
Well, we'll put that down there too.
We'll put the link there. And
But
again,
we can't not mention.
Oh no,
stories.
I love Paige, love you. You guys have rocked. Been a big plus of 2024 for me. So, all right, I'm going to declare us done. High five. You did good. And out.